let's get started. We have a number of guests today. I think we have our guests may outnumber or match the number of members we have today. So this, for the benefit of our guests, to make sure you're on the right flight, this is the Trusted Referral Network. We are a network of independent marketing services providers, agencies, consultancies that get together now on a semi-monthly basis on the second and fourth Tuesday of the month. The first Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern and the second Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern. We do that so that people who might have a standing meeting at one of those times can join at the other. And the objective here is to meet other people who you might have an opportunity or to get to know better, understand what their skills are, where they shine, and how you might be able to collaborate. But that usually requires at least one follow-up. So take note of who's in the meeting and definitely follow up with one or two people that you think, or more, that you think you might want to learn a bit more about in depth. So to that end, I do recommend dropping your contact information into the chat. And at the end, I'll ask everyone to download that chat so that you have it and can follow up. And if for some reason you lose the information, you could always reach out to me. So our format is a little bit different than it had been. We just recently switched from a weekly 1 hour to, as I said, twice a month, hour and a half. We don't need to use up the entire time. But to the extent that people are still engaged after an hour or whatever, we'll keep it going. So we don't have oftentimes almost every week or every meeting, we have a showcase presenter. We don't have one today unless somebody wants to wing it and take 15 minutes to do a deep dive into their business. And if not, we could just start in with intros. We're also going to do potentially a hot seat if anybody has an issue that they want to discuss.
Yeah, I do.
All right, so we'll do the hot seat with Rajiv. I may also have an issue that I'm looking for input on, so maybe we can make that 2 hot seats. But we'll go around. I think we'll start with intros since we have so many guests today. So thank you to all of our guests for coming. Why don't we do like 2-minute intros? Tell us, who you are, where you're coming from, where you are geographically, and what you do in the marketing world, what you're looking for, what makes you stand out, and how you can help others, and ideally something that people will remember you by. It doesn't have to be a tagline, but something that will really help people remember who you are, even if it's not specifically related to your business. It could be, I have 6 fingers on one hand, or I don't whatever might make you stand out.
So I'll start it off.
Okay, hold on. Let me get a timer going.
No worries.
Hot seat. So it's going to be the hot seats today are going to be Rajiv and I. What I usually do, but I will do that. I'm going to put in the chat the order in which people showed up, and that's the order in which we'll do the presentations or the intros. And since Kenny, you happen to be the first one anyway, but still, let me get us the app, a timer up and running. No, not that. Apps, timer. We'll do a 2-minute. You should see the timer pop up, and I'm going to put you on speaker mode, so whoever is speaking will pick up the full screen. So if everybody else would go on mute, that would be great. Okay, Kenny, take it away.
Absolutely. So I want to thank you for, for having me, Mike, come to the meeting and everything. So my name is Kenny Perry. I'm the founder of Organic Mindset Agency. So we're a digital marketing agency specialized in SEO, online ads, social media growth, branding, and website development and revision. We get websites completed in 21 days or less. And what we do is we take a really holistic approach to not only understand the business, but also understand the industry. Because, I look at, myself as a doctor in the sense where how can I prescribe something to somebody if I don't know what the problem is? So in that aspect, we take a really good understanding of, understanding how they measure their KPIs, their metrics, and really put together tailored strategies that really make sense to that business. So what really separates us is we have a really nice, robust dashboard that allows our clients to see the data and the analytics in real time if we're working on a marketing campaign for them. They can download their own reporting, and we actually are able to integrate their Google My Business profile on the back end to the with the APIs as well, so that they can track everything for reviews and whatnot. Also, we're in the process of launching some new enhanced services when it comes to marketing on streaming devices as well. So that's also something that we're actually in the process of launching. And yeah, for myself, I'm just looking pretty much, whether it's, potential collaborations with other marketing agencies, or if it's, chance to really, help each other, whether it's white label services or whatnot, to really help push each other as well. And I'm located in Toronto, so I'm probably the only Canadian on the call. I have my business also set up in the United States and Delaware because I'm a dual citizen. So I'm back and forth from the United States and Canada all the time. Majority of my clients are US based. And yeah, I'm just, here to just build connections and, organic connections and whatnot. So, my logo is a tree transforming into a brain. And, our slogan and tagline is growing your business is all in your mind because it's already within you. You just have to bring it out. And that's me, Kenny Perry from Organic Mindset Agency. Done.
Good timing. And Krista just joined. Krista, I'll add you to the end. Okay, next up, looks like Alan Winnikoff.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining. So yeah, I want you guys to let your imagination wander and take yourself back, way back to 2003. For those of you who are old enough to remember back then, that's the year that we started our business. We're now in our 20th anniversary. We started as a traditional PR firm. I think Mark Zuckerberg was just at Harvard at the time, or maybe not even. There was no social media to speak of. And digital communications as we know it today was just in its infancy. So we started as a traditional PR firm. My partner and I both come from that background. We have a heavy entertainment and media background, but we have since evolved to handle a lot of other clients. We work with a lot of startups. We are generalists. We work with a lot of nonprofits, have a couple of lawyers as clients, healthcare clients. But as the 20 years has passed, of course, we've had to evolve our business. So social media and related digital communications is now a huge part of our business. It's at least half of what we do. We do social for most of our clients. And we also are looking for third-party partners, trusted third-party partners that we can work with. Because if we don't offer that service in-house, we want to have people from this group, perhaps, who we can offer to clients, whether it's a graphic designer or SEO, like Terry, or video content. So we're always looking for trusted third-party partners, and we very much believe in paying it forward. We want to bring in partners where they can succeed with our clients, because we know in the end, it will pay off for all of us. So that's who we are, Sales and Winnikoff Communications, and I'm happy to chat with any of you.
Alan is based in New
York.
And
I said Terry, I meant Kenny. I apologize for that.
Kenny Perry, there's also a Terry. Yeah, lots of ERRYs, ERRYs, ENNYs.
No problem.
All right.
We'll connect.
That'd be great.
All right. And so just to let you know, Kenny is a guest. Alan is a member. Next up is member John Parsons.
Thanks, Michael. You asked what you want me to be known for. I guess I'm known for this Mac sitting in the corner, which is my automatic conversation starter. And when I got it, it was one of the first ones. It was wisely or foolishly how I designed a book for a colleague. And this is an actual product of that thing. So it can work with antique technology. I'm John Parsons with Into Ideas. I lead a double life. I'm a nonfiction ghostwriter, which has all the relationship with books, but my company creates video content for, among other things, authors looking to promote their books or small companies looking to promote their business with explainers, and depending on what level of the marketing funnel. So we're the content producers on the video side, but also on the writing side, because one of our packages is a video with a bunch of short videos and blog or post content that goes along with. So content is kind of the general overarching piece of our business, but it almost doesn't matter what. And Michael, if there's a space for it, I have another show and tell for one of our book trailers that I could do as kind of a mini showcase, because I'd like feedback from you guys, and just like questioning the content if there's a thing you want to say, but also where to go with it, because we don't have a lot of control over where our videos are placed. We recommend putting a book trailer on an Amazon page or putting things on social. We design things for different platforms, but I would love more feedback on best places to go to put the video, or to recommend that we go to our clients to put the video. So that's me.
Sure. I think we have enough time for that.
Okay, great.
We'll do it after the intros.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely. Okay, next guest, Hal Smith.
You guys, yeah, so I have a performance advertising agency called H Street Digital. We're really focused on profitably scaling direct-to-consumer businesses through digital advertising. So platforms we generally work on: Meta, Google Ads, TikTok, LinkedIn, Twitter. We are really focused on, I guess, like 4 areas. So 1 is the ad creative, 2 is just the campaign management side of things, 3 is the landing page conversion rate optimization, and then 4 is more like the kind of predictive modeling side of things, just to basically make better decisions about our media buying. I would say like our quote unquote secret sauce really is we have a pretty unique test and learn process to identify the most problematic areas of the business in terms of digital advertising, really identify what KPIs are off, and then being able to run tests around those KPIs to basically solve for that problem, kind of reduce that discrepancy between where a campaign needs to be and where it is today. Example, in terms of what we do in our scaling process, we really try to focus on the first 90 days. And we've been pretty successful with that in terms of scaling up revenues through digital ads. So like an example is we took a client from 67K a month revenue through Facebook ads to get them, and we got them to about 914K per month in revenue, really in just 90 days. In terms of basically what I'm looking for is, even though we provide CRO, looking for CRO strategists or web developers to really help us out in that area. Basically found, most people work on Shopify, but a lot of our clients work in other places as well. So like WooCommerce or like different kind of lead gen, form platforms. So looking for help there because, there's a kind of wide, big market in terms of like different conversion platforms. And we're looking to really, be much better in terms of providing the service around CRO through a couple of different things, not just Shopify. So any help there, definitely looking for people.
Right, thank you. Wonderful. And you are calling in from
Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas, right? All right. Thank you. And I think you and I met on Lunch Club, or
Yeah, Lunch Club.
So Lunch Club works for whoever's not on it. All right. That was David, who doesn't have his last name on here, but David, you're up.
David Blane, sorry. It's in the chat.
Okay.
Excuse me. But I own a company called Brand Grow. We have evolved over the past 7 or 8 years that we've been around to focus primarily on marketing operations. We help companies that don't have a good sense of marketing architecture to connect all the dots behind the scenes, to plug all those things together. And one of the biggest use cases is for our clients tends to be attribution modeling. So if you have trouble understanding where your dollars are being spent and if they're performing well, we can help figure that out. We can provide the story, we can provide the roadmap to getting there, and we want to work efficiently. So that's sort of our goal with marketers. Key clients tend to be e-commerce, but we have worked with quite a few B2B and tech companies. And I'm looking for just the normal referral and potential partnerships. And we definitely need more social media, more copywriting, more developers as projects come up. So keep us in mind if anything else comes up for you too.
And where are you based again, David?
I'm in Denver, Colorado.
In Denver, that's right. David, I think you and I met just yesterday or 2 days ago, and it was I think it was a referral. Yes, it was. I'm trying to remember who it was, but
Cynthia. Yeah.
Cynthia, official, right? Okay. Rachel Feierman. You on mute, Rachel? Are you still with us?
Yeah, it's here. I think she's on.
Oh, she's on mute. Okay.
Sorry, I saw that it was muted. I'm Rachel. This is Zero Line Studio, my studio. This is all of it. And I am a graphic designer and web developer, and my work is developing websites for clients. And I particularly specialize in the green space. So solar companies, friendly fracking, cement, like all these, it's pretty niche, but I also work with like any kind of green tech, so food tech, etc. And my specific sort of interest is clarifying your message through design. So a lot of the time my clients come to me, and like many clients, they just want the whole thing to get better, sort of the business to get better, and they don't know how, and they think maybe like someone told them a new website would do the job, or they sort of know their website isn't up to par, like that sort of concern. And we try to take a step back and say, okay, what are you selling, and to whom, and how do we communicate your special, unique offerings? So I'm love to partner with marketing people. I'm a website developer and designer who does not do marketing. So, and I'm not, I don't try to confuse that. I don't usually white label. If I work with someone, I partner. I feel like that allows everyone to really focus on what they're great at and deliver something great for the client. So that's me. If you have any questions, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn or anywhere else. Like I said, I like to work in the green space right now. I am working with a bunch of sort of like green architecture stuff. So it's not specifically only green. And, you know, I have an accountant. Sometimes people get referred to me and whatever. So I often just work with clients who are outside that space, but that is what I'm looking for. It's nice to meet everyone.
Rachel, quick question. Are you on LinkedIn? I was trying to connect with you on LinkedIn, but I couldn't quite find you.
Oh, yeah. I posted it to the group. It's in there. I realized my LinkedIn wasn't in the wasn't
Yeah,
my.
If you throw it in
I'll
LinkedIn,
repost it right now. Here.
Perfect. Excellent.
Wonderful. And Rachel is outside of Philadelphia, is that correct?
I am.
All right, wonderful. Ron Hubsher.
Okay, great. Hey, everyone. It's great to see everybody. And John, always impressed by your Mac. What was I forgot what it's even called. What was that called? That machine? Oh, you're on mute, by the way. Well, anyway,
I think it was just called the Mac.
It's a 512.
No, 512.
It was just called the Mac, right, or whatever, Macintosh. Anyway, I'm Ron Hubsher, and got a question for anybody. Everyone lives in really cool cities here. You know, everyone works their business and works really hard. You ever like sit around on Friday night? You know, you think you just closed a big deal. You're ready to either go out to have a glass of wine, or maybe go to the gym, or do something you like, maybe follow the Broncos or whatever it might be. And then the client calls you up and says, "Hey, you know, I've been rethinking it. I really want a discount on that deal." And they're asking for a big discount. And here you were just thinking, man, I had this whole thing wrapped up, and now they're asking me for a big discount. And now I'm really agitated. I was just looking forward to my weekend, and you're not sure what to do, right? Do you cave and give them the discount? Do you push back hard and risk losing the deal? And you're not really sure what to do. Well, we make sure that never happens to you again. I'm Ron Hubsher. We specialize in business-to-business sales negotiations, so we help you command price premiums, reduce discounting, and bring deals in on time. And our target audience are business-to-business organizations, mostly SaaS companies. And we work from large companies to small. We work companies like DocuSign, Oracle, ADP, all the way down to small startups. Appreciate everybody, and great to see everyone. Kenny, sorry you're a good basketball player or basketball coach. Terry, I didn't learn that much about you. Rachel, I'll try and figure out what you do. But and David, welcome, and Hal, welcome.
All right. And Ron and I go back many, many years to business school in the early 90s. You may not think that's possible because I'm only 42 years old, but okay.
He's much younger than me.
All right. Next, Terry Proto coming in from Paris.
Yes, hi everyone. So thanks for having me today. It's a pleasure to be on the group for the first time. About us, so my company is called Virtual Reality Marketing. Sorry, I need to put my phone on silence, of course. Company is called Virtual Reality Marketing. My personal background is in games and digital marketing. And I've done a lot of things. We've created interactive 3D content for agencies and realized that the production was the fun part and the business was the hard part. And that's kind of what motivated us to do what we do today. We are helping AR, VR, metaverse creators to connect with their audiences and clients. And we do that in very many ways. Our website, virtualrealitymarketing.com, is the largest showcase of immersive companies. We list thousands of XR creators with the largest library of case studies. We also have the largest community of XR professionals. We have a group on LinkedIn that just went past 80,000 members. And we are an XR strategic consultancy. And what we do, how we help people, two ways. We help XR CEOs with their strategy, marketing, lead generation, all those good things. And on the flip side of that, we help enterprise clients and brands enter the metaverse because, long story short, it's really complicated for a lot of people still to understand how the technology works and how it makes sense. A lot of companies, came to this last year as a shiny object and they don't have a plan, they don't have a strategy. And of course, it's a failure because, they don't know what they want. And that's where we come in. And the fun thing to remember about us is that, as Michael was saying, we're a little worldly. So we're based in Los Angeles and Singapore. I recently relocated to Mexico and I'm spending a few days in Paris with my family. So kind of all over the place.
Wonderful. So yeah, I'm not sure if everybody knows what XR is.
Right.
I think it's AR and VR and any other mixed reality, I assume.
Yeah. I can do that super quick. So thank you very much, Michael. You've got augmented reality. That's when you have the reality, like something pulled over the real world. You've got virtual reality, and it's like the Matrix where, you replace everything with something completely virtual. And XR is extended reality, and it's the umbrella term that covers the whole spectrum between AR and VR.
Very good. Yeah, so Terry has put together how many members, sort of experts are there in your community?
We just went past this week or last week, 80,000. So now on the group, it's like 80,000, 50 something.
But are those, don't you have a directory of people that
the
are
directory,
expert?
we've got more than like 3,500 companies listed.
Right. So it's a directory of experts in AR, VR, XR.
Exactly. So it's,
and
all the best
areas
companies doing like creating content or technology or, whatnot.
Right. So if anybody has questions around AR, VR, Terry is the guy to reach out to. All right, moving on. Rajiv Jadhav.
Yeah, hi everyone. Nice to see you all. It's good to see some guests here. As you can tell from my Zoom background, I'm the friendly neighborhood assassin. Yes, you heard me, the assassin. You might be wondering, why is an assassin in this meeting? Well, there's a lot of madness and badness happening in the world right now. And it's a wild, wild west out there. People can say whatever the heck they want to say about you, somebody connected to you, or your company. And guess what? People believe that crap. And when they do, they think the worst of you. So what's your solution? You need an assassin who will manage that problem, make it go away. And yes, that's what we do. We manage it. We erase that garbage from the internet so that people see the best of you. The headline is, we erase scandal from Google. We can erase anything from the internet. We can erase mean tweets. We can erase horrible videos that disparage your good name, be it on TikTok or YouTube or wherever. And we can also delete bad one-star reviews, as well as any kind of personal identifiable information, including mugshots. So we can erase anything from anywhere. That's the headline. And my ask for the group is introduction to marketing companies, since a large part of my business comes from marketing agencies who white label us. That's one. And then my ask as far as who my ideal client is, my ideal client is a trusted advisors of millionaires and billionaires who do dumb shit, as well as millionaires and billionaires who know people connected to them that do dumb shit. It could be their relatives, it could be their crazy cousin, it could be, you know what I'm talking about, right? So that's my ask. And we do offer a 10% revenue share for deals that do come in. So I'd love to get to know all of you. Thank you so much for your attention. Have an amazing day.
Hey, Rajiv, I do a lot of dumb stuff, but I may not reach your billionaire threshold. So are we still buds?
You're working on it.
Okay. I'll get back to work.
Krista Giannak. Are you still with us, Krista?
Who trusts you and why? I'm Krista Giannak, wise words that matter. We all know people who aren't sharing their stories. I mean, even on this call, there are so many valuable stories, especially the XR, VR, AR world caught my mind. I can only imagine how many stories there are there. Stories build trust. They engage people's interest, draw people in, especially when they're told with authenticity. That's why my writing services, whether I'm doing ghostwriting, blogging, website content, or professional bios to go along with that, it's all about empowering speakers and visionary thought leaders to boost their credibility so they can book their speaking engagements, change minds, make a greater impact. I have my own story to tell, and people say that I inspire them to share their stories because I'm talking about how I overcame fear and challenges as a business owner and skier who just happens to be blind. Krista Giannak, wise words that matter.
Thank you, Krista. And it looks like your camera is wider angle, or new camera, right? Something different.
No, I'm not thrilled with the wider angle part, but it's just I got a laptop stand so that I could sit higher and be more comfortable.
Yeah, it looks good, actually. It does come through well.
Oh, I'm glad.
Yeah, it comes through great.
I would have preferred a narrower angle, but maybe I can use the video filters.
No, it's fine. It's.
I think it looked great. Looks great. Looks very professional.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. All right. Did I miss anybody besides myself? If not, then I will put the timer on for me. So my name is Michael Bendit, and I'm calling in from Darien, Connecticut, which is right near Stamford. My core business, I do run this network. My core business, though, is representing, meaning doing sales representation for about a dozen software development teams. And a lot of our work among those teams is marketing applications. So it's websites, it's mobile applications, it's e-commerce sites. So a pretty broad range of capabilities. And that's why it's a dozen teams, right? There's so many different platforms out there. And also cost structure is a big factor. The reason people come to me is because they're not sure where to go for the right resource. And my job is to make sure that I have the teams behind me who can handle most of the inquiries. So we're doing something right now. For example, we're bidding on a corporate game for a big food services company that does the cafeterias in corporations, as well as running their own restaurants. And so what I do a lot of work also with other agencies. One of the reasons why I run this is because a lot of digital agencies are our partners. And the reason they come to us is because they may not have the bandwidth, even if they've got a few programmers on staff, they may not have the bandwidth to handle it, or the expertise, or lastly, the right cost structure. So a lot of my work is done with lower cost structure teams that have a lot of offshore resources. They probably have a few people here in the States, but most of their developers are offshore. So that makes for a good combination of people who can communicate with the client in the same time zone and yet leverage offshore resources to be cost competitive. So I'm going to stop there and move it back to the gallery, make sure I didn't miss anybody, which doesn't look like I have. Let us switch over to John. You said you wanted to get some feedback on your latest, was it a book trailer?
It's another book trailer, yeah. And Terry, I am totally intimidated because I understand a lot of what goes into XR, because I'm a ghostwriter and I've written some things about it. But we're scaling down from all that to just ordinary video for people. We're on the spectrum of promotional videos. We're in the lower half of the cost spectrum, so we produce short video content for smaller business. So anyway,
why are you intimidated, if I may interrupt, by XR? So I understand.
I'm sorry.
Why are you intimidated by XR?
Because I know what goes into it. I know what the infrastructure is, and I know what the design requirements are to do VR really well. And most people don't, as I'm sure you know, or that people think they have a good idea, and it doesn't come off because of the uncanny valley. So I understand why it's so difficult. So I'm not exactly intimidated, but we occupy different spheres, and I'm sure you understand. But the author we did this trailer for was the second trailer we've done for him, and the author, Bill Radushel, is not widely known, but it turns out he knew everybody, still knows everybody in high tech. Somebody called him the Zelig of high tech, because he worked with Eric Schmidt, he worked with Scott McNealy, he worked with Steve Jobs, a whole list of people back in the day. And he wasn't instrumental in coming up with big ideas with them, but he was the guy that they spoke with. And he understands how that kind of leadership was necessary to find this incredibly scarce technical talent to get the work done. So he wrote a book called The Bleeding Edge about leadership for high tech, what it takes. And so I'm going to share my screen and just give you a quick peek at that, assuming I can find it. Here we go. And share sound, optimize video. We'll see how Zoom handles this. So everybody see this?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm just going to play it. The challenge was he knew so many people, so we wanted to either put people's photos or their names in the clip. That was in a 60-second or a little bit over 60-second trailer. We needed to impress on the viewer the fact that he did know all these people, but none of the photos were consistent. We had a great photo of Steve Jobs, of course, but Steve Ballmer and Eric Schmidt and others, the photos weren't great, so we decided to go with names, and I'll just play it for you.
New, emerging technologies are volatile, unpredictable, and intellectually challenging. Building a business and creating success around it is daunting. How do entrepreneurs on the bleeding edge of today's new technologies harness their potential and shepherd them successfully? Who can help meet these challenges? Technology innovators of the past, the ones we all know so well, offer remarkable insights. In their time, those geniuses changed the world. They worked through the volatility and unpredictability of new technologies. Bill Raduchel was a witness. He was a participant at the center of technology's transformation over the past 60 years. He knows the insights, processes, and thinking that shaped the success of great technology leaders. His new book, The Bleeding Edge, reveals a relevant and powerful perspective on management and change. It's a must-read for anyone in working with today's emerging technologies.
The Bleeding Edge by Bill Reducial. Order your copy today, wherever books are sold.
So anyway, that's that. I really love not feedback on the video itself, but where to put it is something we don't control, but I'd love to get your inputs.
So how to promote it in the right channels. Is that right?
I'm sorry,
How to promote it in the right channels?
Well, it's sort of like where this goes. Everybody wants to put their stuff on YouTube, and we tell them
Right.
that's not the answer. Usually on the website, we do small clips from videos like this to put on social, and the Amazon author page is a likely one. But I'd love to hear other people, and we don't just do book trailers, but in this case, I'd love to hear people's thoughts on that.
Hey, John, a couple questions for you. First of all, so you want to know where you should, if I understand you correctly, you want to know where you should place this particular trailer?
Yeah, and I mean, I have ideas, but I'm trying to open up my mind to new possibilities.
Or, and I think I can't remember if I said where other people would like to buy those services, right? So like a book trailer, got it, really important. And like I just went to the NSA, National Speakers Association annual conference. Like everyone there has a book and they would love something like that. So that could be a great spot for you. I don't know if I mentioned that to you last time.
Actually, I wrote a book for the president of the NSA, and so I know about that.
Oh, beautiful.
I'm sorry?
Awesome.
Yeah, no, that has come up in the past, but thanks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I assume there are folks that, talk about the tech leadership, are speakers on that topic. Certainly any backlinks from them to the site, but of course that takes a little effort to get them to, review it or read it and recommend it.
Yeah,
and that would be, I would guess, to leverage off of influencers in that space would be very valuable. And social media, I mean, just more broadly, social media influencers, it may take some marketing dollars to get social media influencers to promote it, but that's potential.
Yeah, we thought about speakers bureaus and we thought about book publicists, and we're working off a list of book publicists to try to get to call their attention to the possibility, because the content is not on, like I said, it's not on the super expensive side. We don't do cinematic trailers,
Right.
which are usually not called for with this kind of book.
Yeah. Alan, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say, John, that, you mentioned publicists. I know something about that.
That's why we had the conversation.
I think that I was going to ask you, like, how committed is he to overall marketing dollars? Because I think one thing about this video is that in the hands of a good publicist, and no, I'm not selling you my services on this book, but that has an ancillary value, because first of all, journalists don't want to read a pitch anymore, but they'll watch a video. Secondly, if you do get a story, a lot of media outlets, TV, print, they want video content when they post the story on their website. So, there's a lot of ways you can amortize this video where, you can find places for it that could, amplify your reach, that maybe it's not, it's not a direct cost benefit, but you're getting value.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about offering at least 2 different packages with that in mind, so that we have pre-written content, or work with a writer to coordinate the content that goes with the video or the series of videos, to try to, because social media is this fire hose And
Right.
we've found some interesting ways to get people to watch videos by having the captions burned in. And so the captions are because on LinkedIn, video is muted by definition.
Mhm.
You can autoplay, but you can't.
John,
yeah.
have you tried putting this on TikTok?
Not yet, no. I most of our authors that we do this for are a little bit overly cautious about TikTok, especially book talk, because it goes towards a different kind of book. It goes towards self-help. It goes towards a different a different demographic. And most of my guys, I mean, I wrote a book on AI that would fly nowhere on TikTok. And similarly, the books that I don't write, but we do videos for, tend to be more on the secrets of my business success or secrets of something. I mean, Alan, you and Paul have met. There's no way in a million years he would want to put his stuff on TikTok.
Well, the other challenge of TikTok is that you need a constant stream of video content.
That's true.
You have to post, you know, I mean, people recommend posting several
Every
times a
day,
day. Yeah. So one video isn't going to do it, because then you might get some, you might build an audience, but you're not going to hold the audience.
Yeah, and we would have to chop it. We chop out some certain segments for social, but not that. And then the budget goes up through the roof, and I don't want to do that.
Right, exactly. Do you have somebody doing your social?
Not at the moment.
Yeah. So I mean, that's, you know, kind of what you need to look at is the full scope of marketing, as I'm sure you know already.
Yeah.
You know, and how much your author is willing to commit financially.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah.
So, like, John, like another sort of way to look at TikTok is that, well, it's like the #1 platform right now to get a whole bunch of organic views without spending a penny. Obviously, that depends on the kind of content, the hashtags you use, the description, etc., as well as the cover image and blah blah. But besides that, I think you could kind of use TikTok as a two-pronged strategy. Strategy #1 is kind of like create like a video, like a bomb video, and put it there. Then, you know, so it lands. That's like part one, and make sure it gets like 1,000+ views. Once it gets that 1,000+ views, then you can like use TikTok advertising to then promote it in a targeted way, because it's kind of like that crowded bar syndrome. You know, people want to go to a bar that's hot and happening as opposed to just crickets, right? So when you've already established the social proof of a video with 1,000+ views, it means that it's hot content, and then you could then promote that video with those 1,000 views to the specific audiences that are most relevant to the author. So that could be like another way of kind of like thinking about it. You could kind of approach this like sort of in a tactical way. I mean, you don't have to be on TikTok for the long term, but just for the interim, as far as establishing what you're looking to do over the next, like, you know, whatever the time is, a week, 2 weeks, a month, whatever. And after that, you could just like abandon it or whatever. But the point is, like, you kind of use it in this way to kind of meet your short-term objective.
Are there any, is the target audience very well defined such that it might be a good campaign for Facebook, which enables you to do very targeted advertising?
There's two, like I said, I have 2 lives. Most of my work is LinkedIn only. That if they do anything at all with their books that I write, it's for LinkedIn and for very business to business social. I've gotten a couple of biographies that would be of interest on there's one of interest on Facebook. So yeah, I mean, it depends. It always depends on the author and their audience. I mean, the autobiography video we did, which I showed a couple of weeks ago, is a women's empowerment audience. So for sure there would be groups, and she's a former chancellor at UC Davis, and it's about her story. So that would be a possible candidate there. But again, it's also a matter of budget, because doing one video, even though it's very affordable, is you multiply that times the number of times. I think on the scale of repeatability, Facebook is less likely to need different content repeated over and over. Whereas TikTok, you really do have to have something novel. I mean, I think Rajiv is correct on getting the first social proof going, but you still have to have something other than the one video in order to be credible.
Right.
Have you had a look? Sorry.
Go ahead, Terry.
Have you had a look at AI video generators or people producing AI video content? Because that's something that's moving really quick, and it's a way to generate content very quickly and cheaply, I mean.
We haven't done anything practical. We've looked at it. We kind of pride ourselves on having a direct interaction with the author on the trailer videos, because that's their story. It's something that we try to manage our video content the same way I have a relationship with my authors. And so I suppose if we wanted to do iterative pieces that were different, but we haven't, we're only in the exploration phase. Mostly
do have a look, because it's moving quick, and you can keep your own story and attach various kinds of visuals that will be done at a fraction of the cost of any other production mean, where you keep, I mean, the thing about AI is that you want to keep the control of it. And of course you have your sensitivity and your, understanding of the story, all of this nuance and fineness and sophistications, that's your brand, which you obviously want to keep. That being said, on the visuals, images, production side of things, you can, keep the messaging and keep what you're good at, and get to a place where the video production is boom and much faster, and you can create like several iterations and try different ideas and try different variations for a fraction of the cost of any other kind of video content production.
Could we connect and talk about that offline? That'd be great.
You have my LinkedIn, sure.
Sure. Because I have a little bit of knowledge. I actually did one of these, but not enough to specifically look at the platforms and products that don't create that uncanny valley. If they use a training data set that augments what our core video does, then I'm very interested. Thanks.
You mentioned the term uncanny valley.
Yeah.
Right.
What is that?
When something is like an anthropomorphic robot in a movie like WALL-E, people identify with because it's clearly not meant to be human, although it has these personality traits that make you love it. You love the character. But the closer you get to a humanoid or something, especially with humans, you get closer and closer to resembling a human being. There's a point at which the mind rebels and says, this is not real. And that uncanny valley is that sense of shock or revulsion or discomfort, because it's not real enough to be real. And then there's a psychological response of rejection, because it just looks weird and you don't know why.
Right.
And a lot of
right. Too close to reality.
I can elaborate on this one. It's a typical problem of 3D, and it's been very funny. You had that, like, it started to become a term in the early 2000s when you had the first 3D movies with photorealistic characters. So there's one very famous flop made by Squaresoft, the guy behind all of the Final Fantasy games. And they spent a fortune creating a studio in Hawaii, and they did this movie, Final Fantasy, based on their biggest IP. And they had spectacular visuals of humans that were 99% photorealistic and spectacular, especially in still images. And the thing tanked spectacularly because as you get, exactly as you were saying, as you get towards this 99% off, all of a sudden it's the 0.001% of, oh yeah, the acting of that woman, when she says this, she looks constipated, or this other details. And the small details completely blow up the thing. So it's very weird because, you were talking, and that's why, for instance, Pixar has been staying clear of photorealistic humans. And even Pixar, with all of their might and all of their everything, they never, ever try to do photorealistic humans because of this very problem. It's a super well-known problem.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Thank you. John, does that help?
It helps a lot. I'm going to have to connect with a lot of you to follow up.
Sure. John, one more thing. It felt like in the beginning of the video, the visuals didn't change fast enough.
We had a big discussion about that.
So I'll vote for whoever that group was. I'm with that faction now.
They have it move faster.
I just think okay, so you see that curve, you understand what it means. You see it again, right? It's slightly different, the second curve. You see it again, and your brain is like, we've seen the curve. You know what I mean? The messaging, it's not an audio medium, right? Like I mean, that video is really like a podcast. It's really like the storytelling is all going on through audio. So you have to at least like sort of trick people.
Yeah.
Think they're watching a video.
It was meant to simulate the Gartner hype curve is what it was.
No, I got it.
Oh,
like
okay.
I got that it was, but I saw it twice and then I saw it a third time. And like the message isn't changing and the visual isn't changing. So I'm like getting a little antsy.
Yep. No, I get it. And my designer on that was pretty adamant. And I'm not gonna say I told you so because he's my son. But we have these discussions all the time about pacing and
yeah,
of course.
Right. The other thing, John,
one more. Good.
To compliment what Joe was saying, I thought the voice, just because I just did an audiobook, I thought the voicing, it didn't draw me in. It was a little hard for me to hear, but it wasn't like didn't convey any enthusiasm. It just sounded kind of flat. It sounded like if nasally Ron was reading a book. That's what it kind of sounded. I don't mean to be disrespectful at all. And I know
it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
But I would get it. And there's lots of great voice actors who could really inject some life and energy into it. Like, wow, he bet with, you have all these great names. Scott McNeely, founder of Sun Microsystems, right? The big, Apple, like you got all these great things. And the guy's just sort of saying it like, oh, Steve Jobs, Apple. Like, Steve Jobs, guy created Apple, world's most richest company. Wow, all that kind of stuff. I was like, yeah, I want to know that stuff.
It's the author's own voice.
No, this was a voice. We used two different voice sources on this, and the voice for the close we originally were going to use for the whole thing, but something went wrong, and we decided to use someone in house to do the main voiceover.
Yeah, the voice. You could tell the second one is more professional.
Yep.
All right, let us move on. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, sure, absolutely. Rajiv, you had a challenge or a question that you want some feedback on.
Yeah, so I mean, we have a software called Lily Launch Tools, which is basically a strategic planning tool that organizes your go-to-market strategy in a visual, interactive way. So we're basically looking for users, and I guess the challenge question is like, what's the best way of doing this? Like, this is something like back when I was at Citi or at Mindshare, taking care of Unilever. This is something I would like totally have used in a heartbeat, had it existed at the time. But it didn't exist until we kind of imagined it into existence. So the question is, when it comes to strategic planning, does anyone have any ideas for people that operate in that space? And does anyone know anyone that we could kind of, share like an introduction to, just for them to kind of take a look at it and, share their thoughts? The feedback we've gotten so far is great. People love that it's real easy to use, and it's like very like intuitive, and it's real simple, and it is a standalone tool. It's not intended to integrate with 20,000 things. It's just kind of like DocuSign. Just use it for that one thing and move on with your life.
Yeah, I know it's for product launch. I wonder, I found that there are, communities for everything. I don't know if there's a product launch community, but I wouldn't be surprised if there were. I guess the larger umbrella is product management, but that might be too broad. So I would try to do some research and find, is there a group of folks that deal specifically with product launch? And I know that the product was originally targeted at pharma,
right?
But you may find that that's just too narrow, and I think it's applicable across any industry.
Yeah,
right?
It's industry agnostic. Yeah, I mean, pharma is definitely the niche we want to dominate, but it's a sandwich, right? Anyone can eat a sandwich, right? You don't have to be in a specific industry to eat a sandwich. So we're kind of like something that anyone in any industry can use. Like anyone who's trying to launch anything can use this.
Right. I would, and maybe you and I can work on this. I would if you've got already a customer or two that are satisfied and be willing to talk about it.
Yeah, we have
Um,
testimonials. Yeah.
But I would pursue that niche pretty aggressively. That, you know, there must be a product launch community out there that's worth following.
Okay.
Other thoughts? Did anybody else have a comment?
Oh, another ask. So does anyone know anyone in like any of like the large advertising agencies like Saatchi and Saatchi, BBDO, WPP, JWT, you know, any of the agencies like that? Havas, Wonderman, any of those?
In what
Ogilvy?
area?
Specifically in strategic planning. Because strategic planning is a division within advertising. So planners are people that would use something like this as well.
Yeah, there's a woman who is active in the New York AMA. I think she's on the board, who an older woman, she's probably in her 80s actually, but she's still
With
working
it,
on
okay.
it. Maybe she's late 70s, I don't know. I would have to look up her name, but the fact that she's involved in AMA as much as she is, the American Marketing Association, at least the New York chapter, might be a good entree if you get involved somehow.
Yeah,
I
I'd love
don't
to have
know
a
her.
chat.
I don't know her well, but if you look maybe at the board of advisors at AMA, you'll see her, and I think she's does strategic advisory or planning in one of the larger firms.
Okay.
Any other comments, questions, responses to Rajiv? Go ahead, Rachel.
Oh, I have a separate question, but
okay, let me close this one out if
Yeah.
there's anything. Okay, go for it.
So I'm talking to some clients right now about PR, and I am wondering if anyone has information or can sort of send me in the right direction in terms of information on how PR, like metrics for PR. It's a little soft to be like, you need PR because people generally think better of you if they've heard of you, but in a world that's so dominated by KPIs and clicks and whatever, I'm finding it difficult to communicate the point of it. And I'm trying to figure out how to make that real for my clients. I mean, I don't make money on PR. It's just, I think it's valuable and I think it helps. So if any of you have sort of dealt with this and been able to communicate the value of PR, what have you used, I guess?
Yeah, so basically, like, it kind of depends on what you're looking to do. So part of what we do is thought leadership. So part of thought leadership is establishing your message on key platforms that give you that subject matter, aura. So one of the things, there are many ways to do it. You could do a TED Talk, you could speak at the United Nations, you could have a podcast, you could be an Amazon best-selling author, you could do like a variety of things, as well as getting featured at Forbes, Yahoo Finance, Fast Company, etc. So the point is, like, when it comes to metrics, the metrics are from a backlink standpoint, you're going to get like a link from a publisher that has a high domain authority score. And by high, I mean anything north of 70. So it could be 70, 80, 90. So that's like extremely high. Companies like Forbes and Yahoo Finance have extremely high domain authority scores because they're known publishers that have digital outlets. So that's like one very hard, tangible metric right there. The second is you'll then be seen in a certain light. And being seen in a certain light gets people to look at you in a different way. And that is worth a lot. So it's the same way of like, why do people want to be seen on Good Morning America? Or why do people want to be interviewed by Oprah? Why? It's the buzz, it's the publicity, it's the platform, it's the validation of you being featured on there or being good enough to be featured. So by virtue of being featured, regardless of if it's a pay to play, it says volumes about who you are, the level at which you play, and about your capability and your credibility. So as far as like some quantifiable metrics, those are what I would kind of like put together. And I'm happy to kind of like chat with you later as well. I got to run to my team meeting, but that was a great question.
Yeah, domain authority is actually one I hadn't thought of, but it is you can go to the website. I think there are tools that will tell you what the domain authority is of any given
like
website.
SEMrush and stuff, yeah.
Right. Krista has a response or question.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that with PR, I feel like it's because it still costs a lot less than traditional advertising and a number of other marketing efforts. Maybe if you look at their budget, because that's what I've been told to do in the past. And sometimes it makes a difference because I've also done some limited PR on a local level and with podcasts.
So
Okay,
understanding
great.
what their budget is and whether it would be better spent in advertising or PR. Is that what you're saying, Steph?
Yeah, I'm saying to look at the budget, look at how else they're promoting their services, and maybe they can kind of move some of their funding from some of those other buckets to PR, especially if they've got great stories that sell themselves to the reporters or to the podcasters or the influencers, then it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. I mean, there obviously are measures of awareness, brand awareness, but they require research. And you could measure the effect of PR and other forms of marketing with brand awareness, but again, probably pretty expensive. So maybe the best thing to do is, as an input, if you can get covered by somebody who's got a high domain authority, pretty much every news outlet has a website anyway. So if you can't say, it's hard to quantify what the impact is of a Wall Street Journal or a Forbes, but if you just mention their domain authority. John?
Can I ask a related question?
Sure.
There are a number of press release sites that have syndication. So where your article gets syndicated to all of these different news sites. And I'm wondering, from a technical perspective, does that give you any link authority because you're on those sites, or is it syndicated so Google ignores it?
My understanding is that Google does not ignore it, that it does have an impact. In fact, there was somebody who used to be a member here that had a interesting tool called News SEO, where they would make a news article out of, create a news article for a client that was relevant, and then send it out to like 1,000 outlets. And not everybody would pick it up, but you get 300 or 400 picking it up, and it does in fact improve your Google ranking. Yeah, John?
Yeah, I just had a very non-tech response to that because I was a former journalist, and when people approached me, this is way before, not before the web, but before a lot of the other stuff that people are using as metric, measuring the analytics of your search ranking and so forth. If a PR person or a marketing person approached me about a story and didn't know what I wrote about, didn't know what my career was dedicated to, and didn't try to honestly reach out to me on the basis of my interest. I had certain threads that I followed for my publication, and if somebody was just shotgunning every journalist in our publication and trying to catch a lucky break, they would fall to the bottom of the pile. I mean, there's still a few journalists left who are human beings. Sorry, and what they care about, what they care to write about, is what a good PR person needs to do. And the best ones actually knew me and knew my story preferences and what was important for me to dig for. And that's really hard to do because there's so much noise and very little signal in this stream of this fire hose of information. So it's a lot of work. So Rachel, I would just try to figure out how to reach the journalists that matter to your clients, who have a story that matters to your clients, and be prepared for a lot of rejections because there's so many people using shortcuts to get to that. I mean, some of my clients use PR Newswire and Business Wire and the shotgun approach. And it's very scientific, but I can tell you, as someone who's been on the receiving end of that shotgun, it doesn't really work, or it doesn't work often. Sometimes a really good press release writer will catch my attention. But when I left a trade show, and all of my colleagues said the same thing, we had these piles of paper with pocket folders and eventually CDs and USBs filled with information. I would dump all the paper except the one or two things that I'd made notes on. The CDs, today I would just toss them, but the only thing I kept were the USBs, and I erased them and used them for my own use. Because these guys have to deal with their careers, and they want to write about what they want to write about. They really don't want to write about stuff that gets tossed at them. I don't know if this is helpful or not, but the human at the other end of the media, of the earned media side, is the most important part, and it's hard to reach those people.
Right. Yeah. You want to be helping them.
Yeah, you need to really help them in their career, and so breaking a story is best done with knowing that they want that's the story that would make them happy.
Also, Rachel, you can follow up with Alan Winnikoff, who was on this call.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to mention one thing that I am planning on launching a video podcast called Martech Miracles, which is going to focus on marketing technology, but it's interviewing the owner of that technology with a customer who's succeeded. So it's a different angle. It's sort of the practicalities of it, not just the vendor, touting their technology. So if anybody knows of folks, I think, John, your interactive video might be interesting if you've got a customer that's using it.
We don't yet, so it's still early.
Still early. Okay. But if folks know of people who have used an interesting marketing technology and also know it's probably better to know the vendor first, because they probably have a customer that they could bring in. Would love to speak to them.
Cool.
I know a vendor.
Okay.
So let's connect. He does an AI marketing tool.
Okay. Wonderful. I'm going to take a note of that.
I have a question for everyone too.
Sure.
Yeah, so I was just wondering, in terms of, like myself personally, when I use AI, I always try to go in and edit it to add a human element to it, because a lot of the time when you get an email or some type of communication that's AI generated, you have a clear understanding that it's AI generated. So
right.
I just wanted to know if everyone else in here, if they do use AI, do you go in and edit it to add a human element to it, or do you pretty much just kind of let it go with the AI automation generation?
When I get written material from a client that he wants to put it in his marketing stream, I always edit. I always try to identify what everybody else says that the training data gives them. Not perfectly, but I understand my client's voice, and he wouldn't say that. It might be factually okay, might be, if the data set was not corrupt. But yeah, it's because I'm old school. I really need to have that be authentic voice and not that uncanny valley part, which is going to get worse. Because sooner or later, or it's actually sooner, the training data for AI is going to be based on other AI generated data, and pretty soon you're going to have. And my favorite line with fellow writers who are freaked out about ChatGPT, and I said, guys, sooner or later, because there's search engines that are looking for stuff and quantifying, and AI that's writing the stuff. So let's let the AIs talk to other AIs, and we'll focus on writing for humans.
I always edit, at least to read it, and if it looks funny, I'll change it or regenerate.
Same.
Yeah.
I don't think ask everybody.
Yeah.
And not just for factual accuracy, because there was that famous story of the attorney who used ChatGPT to do a brief, and all of the citations were fictitious, every single one.
Right. Judge didn't like that. I think we'll close it out. John, I wanted to follow up with you. I don't know if you got my email, because I want to set up like a video studio in my home. And need some advice.
Right. Sorry. Yeah, things are a little, well, you know what's going on with me. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure. Yeah, let's do that.
All right. Wonderful. All right. Thank you, everybody. Again, we don't need to go to the end of the hour and a half. I appreciate you all coming. Thanks to our guests.
Will do.
We had some people drop off.
Oh, this is awesome. Thank you so much, everybody.
All right. And Kenny, if you're interested, absolutely. If you're interested in potentially joining, let me know.
Cool.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All awesome. Right. Take care.
Thanks.